Okay, so welcome back to the show. My name's Manoj. We're gonna have my friend, brother, I don't know how to introduce him, but one of my really good friends who lives in the UK, who's currently a teacher, who's basically gonna just talk to us about his life, his experiences so far, what he's learned, kind of his journey, and just kind of have a casual conversation between the two of us, but just on video. We usually talk on the phone, not recorded, but yeah, we're gonna just do a little video call here. But yeah, Harsha, if you want to just introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm well excited for this. Never done anything like this before, so it'd be a nice thing to indulge in. But yeah, for the listeners, hope you're doing well. Firstly, like and subscribe. That's what we do. Like and subscribe. My name is Harshil, of course. I currently live in the UK. I got a background in environmental research and qualitative research, basically. Previously, I worked with a lot of tribes in India, did a lot of on-field anthropology, get to know them, get to know their hardships, try to basically change their occupation. I worked in a program doing that. Came to the UK about 4 years ago and been working in a secondary school for 2 years now. So yeah, that's what's been up lately. Been teaching 11 to 16-year-old kids.
So how'd you kind of get into teaching or get into like secondary education?
Well, man, to cut a long story short, of course, I wasn't looking into getting into teaching, into anything like this. Back in school, back in my school days, I was a backbencher, right? You know, one of those mischievous ones, one of those ones who's just not listening in class and just wants to always be up to something, you know. However, the end goal was always teaching university, right? I wanted to do a PhD. I still want to do a PhD. That is something I'm still thinking about. No, man, I was just doing some part-time work here in the UK. I live in Canterbury, the southeast. Shout out Canterbury. But I was just doing some part-time work after I've graduated from uni, just to pay rent, you know. Rent don't care. Rent don't care. You need to get paid. So I was just applying to research jobs as well, anywhere in the UK. And this teaching job came up out of nowhere. I thought I'd, dabble, dip my feet into it, see if it's for me. And I started cover teaching for a bit in the school in Dover. It was quite nice at first. Of course, once you start getting into the job, you start to figure out how it works and if it's for you, things like that. And I really warmed up to it. I really love it at the moment, what I'm doing. But yeah, that's how it came across. I cover teaching at the school and they hired me full time. They put me on the teacher training. It's been quite a journey, not gonna lie. Didn't see myself doing this at all. If you ask me, like, literally two and a half, 3 years ago, what I was gonna do in the next 1 year, I didn't know. I don't know. So yeah, I'm enjoying it at the moment. Taking it as it goes. I forward to half term, which is literally next weekend. So another week of school left before we break off for another week. So just gonna relax, I guess.
Oh, super interesting. I think that's kind of like the journey of life, right? You don't know, or you don't know where you're gonna go. I don't think when we were growing up, you would have ever told me, yeah, I'm gonna be a teacher, and then you would have been a teacher. It's just something that happened unexpectedly, and then you just kind of led into it, and it seems like you kind of enjoy it. So, what does like a typical school day kind of look like for you?
Well, mine, of course, we get up real early. We get into school by about 8:30. That's actually late, you know. 8:30 is when like the teachers are supposed to be there, but I'm like creeping into school 8:31, 8:32, right? But now my first bell goes off 9 a.m. We got tutor time, which is basically like take register and like get these kids set up for the day. Then school ends at about 3:30. We got like 6 lessons, 6 periods a day. 50 minutes each. And so school ends at 3:30, 3:30. Got to stay back in school, of course, for off-school meetings and things like that. We got like departmental collaboration and we got like training and things like that. So that really takes up an hour and a half, a good hour, an hour and a half after school. So I get home by around 5 p.m. 5:30 on Thursdays. Really depends on the day. If the meeting lasts longer than it should. But however, yeah, man, I get home by like 5:30. So yeah, that's a school day. I guess about
So,
6.5, 7 hours of school and then meetings, things like that.
so these meetings are meetings between other colleagues at the school, or these like meetings between parents, like maybe after school meetings with students?
So we have like meetings with parents, of course. We have dates for that. which happen after school, but it's mostly most of these meetings are interdepartmental meetings. We meet with other colleagues from other departments like English and math and history and things like that. And just, plan lessons, see how it went, do like share like observation notes, see what's going well, see what isn't, do like planning for assignments, assessments, upload homework and just things, just things like that. Mostly it's like on 2 or 3 of the days it's like training, could literally be emails made, like just use mini whiteboards or like stand outside your doors whenever you're greeting a pupil, or things like that. You could just fucking email it to us
Yeah, I
and
mean,
save us
I
that
think
time to like just do the real things that we
with
want to do.
with any job, it's more just being as what do you call it, efficient as possible, right? Saving your time. So with a teaching job, so like for example, in my 9 to 5, after I'm done at 5 o'clock,
Mhm.
like I ain't opening my laptop, right? Like I'm done. Is it the same with the teaching job, or do you have work after school, like grading assignments? Like how does that kind of work?
Throughout the week, right? Of course, I teach about 22 to 23 hours a week. Okay. And I also have some PPA time, which is protected, where I basically take a chill pill, go around the school, observe a couple of my colleagues, do some marking, things like that. So that's the time where I do like lesson planning and things like that. After school, it's usually an emergency, like if cover needs to be set, or if there's a lesson that doesn't have any resources, or a new topic needs to be planned. Of course, I need to plan it up. But I'm usually not doing any work post when I get home. Literally, my laptop's shut.
Post.
I don't answer any emails until the next day. Yeah, post school. Yeah, it just ends there.
Okay.
I tend
Interesting.
not to do that. For my mental as well.
Hmm.
I just keep work and person at person, right? So once I'm home, I have my routines and I do my stuff that I want to do after work. So I keep work at work. It ends there, 5 p.m. I'm off.
So, since you've been teaching for a couple years now, what do you find is the most rewarding part of being a teacher?
I want to say the results, man, but it really is the pupils and how is the relationship with the pupils and just seeing them succeed somewhere in life. As a teacher, your job, of course, is to teach, but in today's world, it's also to manage behavior. But it's also making an impact somewhere in that pupil's life, in that student's life. So if I'm able to do that, I'm not saying I'm going to make an impact out of 50 kids that I teach. For example, just a small sample size. I'm not going to make an impact on all the 50. I'm saying at least 2%, like two of them or three of them. I'm good. They make a good decision in their future. They think of me. That's not what I'm bothered about, but they make a good decision. That's what it is. And somewhere along the way, I was the one who kind of pushed them or put them on the right track, or maybe taught them a topic another way that the previous teacher or a different teacher didn't do that. Maybe giving them some attention that they didn't get from another teacher, another person. So just small wins, which actually, amount to a lot to like, really rewarding and wholesome. As you said, it is rewarding for sure.
Interesting. So, when you say they think about you later down the line, have you ever had like conversations with kids just about life in general, just about where they want, what they want to do maybe in their future, where they want to go?
Yeah, man, of course. A little bit of context though. I teach in Dover, where demographically, it lies in the southeast of the UK. Demographically and socioeconomically, it is on the bottom half, man. Demographically, it's predominantly like middle class white dominated, and it is on the bottom half in terms of socioeconomics. It's quite dirty. There's no money in the area, basically, right?
Mm,
You can see poverty, a lot of poverty there, and the kids come from these kind of areas, and they are notorious for being naughty. But the kids in my school, they're pretty well behaved, right? I think the system really pushes for that. Like from when I joined the school to where it is now. When I joined the school, of course, it was truancy all the time. Pupils wouldn't attend lessons; they would just bunk all the time, and you see fights happening all the time. But 2.5 years down the line, our focus now is not on the pupil wearing a hoodie, right? Our focus now is on if the pupil is able to understand what evaluate means, if the pupil is able to understand what describe means. So of course there is a difference, but it really depends on the area, the demographic, the type of the type of students you're teaching. Plus, it's only been, I'd say, about 2.5 years into my journey to teaching. I'm still a newbie. I'm still literally a baby. Right? Their teachers in my school have been teaching for as long as I've been alive. So there's lots to learn along the way.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it's definitely, at least that's what I've thought of. Like, just as I've gotten older, there are definitely some things which my teachers told me, or just professors in college, where they gave you some sort of advice or mentioned something that you look down at it later down the line, and you're just kind of like, oh wow, okay. Yeah, what they're saying made a lot of sense, you know? So yeah, I think let's move more on to what your life is like in England. So since you've been living in England for what, 6 years now? 5 years?
Yeah, man. Coming up to 5. Yeah, I want to say like coming up to more like 4.5. But yeah, you could say 5. Yeah.
So
Um,
what was your kind of
it's been
first
cold,
impression?
man. Not gonna lie, it's been cold. So I came right after COVID, right? Right post-COVID when they lifted all the restrictions out. It was quite, people still, of course, just getting out of their houses and businesses were still opening up and life was beginning to go back to, I wouldn't say normal, but it's still not normal, I'd say, right? But life is still beginning to go back to what it was. Like people are still scared to come out. Of course, the virus changed everything about the life that we live. And initially, it was quite, I missed home a lot, right? It was the first time that I was away from home in a different country. Of course, I did my undergrad in a different city, but I was still in the country. And I'd like to really put this on my mom, though. Respect her and appreciate her because I'm quite well traveled in that sense. I've got the privilege to travel a lot. So I have experienced different cultures as a tourist, but this was completely different. This was like, I'm living here. My life is here. Right? My life is literally in 3 suitcases to pack everything up. So initially it was quite hard. But I have a knack of making friends real easy. Like I'm a really social person. My course that I did social anthropology at the University of Kent. And there were a lot of people from different parts of the world, a lot of ethnicities as well. So made a lot of friends, and I grew out of missing home. And then I started making a home here because this was my home now, right? So of course, initially it was kind of hard, but then it just got better. And here we are. The only reason I think of home now is, of course, my parents, but really the food. That's all. Just the food, man.
So how has your view of England kind of changed over time? I know you mentioned that England's kind of your home now, but where do you prefer to live? You prefer to live in India or England? What some differences you've maybe noticed between the two countries?
Well, man, I went back home recently for a holiday for a month. I live in Bangalore, India, and there are a lot of differences, of course, when it comes to just standard of living. There's a hell of a lot of differences. UK standard of living is, of course, better than India, but things are changing. Like things are changing. Everything's becoming more expensive everywhere in the world. But because once you start earning your own money, once the paycheck starts coming in, once you start paying rent yourself, once you start buying groceries yourself, you understand that dynamic. You really understand where your money's going. It's like subscriptions, you got to pay at the end of the month. You got to pay for gym if you go to gym. You being active, right? You got to if you want to go out to get a bite, got to pay for it, right? Just basic necessities, man. Grocery shopping has become so expensive. And the thing about it is, minimum wage, right, is increasing, of course, but it's increasing based on inflation. It's not increasing based on cost of living, right? I'm talking strictly about the UK, right? Because of course, minimum wage in India doesn't really exist. Of course, wages are going up, but wages aren't going up depending on the cost of living. Wages are going up just taking inflation into consideration. So everyone's just angry, mate, here in England, I feel, There's so many riots going on, just things like that. Everyone's just, they're not angry at each other, they're just angry at the system. Because the system really doesn't allow a middle class person to go up, right? It's there to just keep the middle class there, right? And I'm literally seeing this because I've started earning it the past, of course, 2, 3 years I've been earning and I've been paying rent myself. So I know how it is, right? I know how life works now. Man, it's not easy. It's not easy, of course, when you're trying to, I'm not saying I'm living paycheck to paycheck because, of course, working in education, there's like, you get paid based on your experience and based on how much you're putting in. So there's like the progress and progression is really really nice and really rapid. You get to see it every year. But then again, you get an increase based on inflation and not based on the cost of living. That's what's happening. Everyone's just angry at the system, not allowing them to break out of that mold, you know? So I think things are really tough, right? But where isn't it tough? Manoj, tell me that. In India, it's tough as well. I went back home this time, I was saying, for like a month. Things are really expensive in India as well, right? 10 rupee packet of crisps costs about 20 rupees now, and you get the same amount. Nothing's changed. It's just, again, gone up. If you ask me where I'd live, right, um, I of course don't see myself living in the UK for a very, very long time. I don't see myself retiring here or like, just being here for a while. But I have no clue at the moment. At the moment, I have no plans of leaving anytime soon. But I'm not going to be here for a while, if that makes sense.
So you're just kind of going where life takes you, pretty much, just living each day as it goes, basically. From what you're saying, that's kind of what I understood,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, I was
So,
telling my mum as well the other day, right? She was talking to me about buying a house, right? And I was just telling her, our generation, right? You and I, our generation, doesn't really buy houses. We just rent, right? Because we don't know if we're going to live in that city for a long time. I don't know if I'm going to call that city my home, right? It wasn't like how it was in the past for them, right? If they relocated somewhere and they lived there, they bought a house and then they got married and they got kids and they got a white picket fence and they got a job and things like that, right? It's not like that for us. It's completely changed. Yeah, man.
no, I definitely agree. I think even just with cost of living and just like you were saying, expenses and stuff, it's becoming quite hard for people to even want to buy a house, right? Because you don't save enough money to be able to buy a house
Hmm.
and then deal with the expenses of the house as well. Who knows if we're even going to live in the city,
Yep,
which makes it even more difficult to kind of think like, oh, am I going to stay here for long enough where I want to buy a house or settle down here? I think
exactly, man.
maybe next thing would probably be so apart from your daily life, I'm sure you have pretty routine like daily schedule. How do you stay connected with your friends,
Hmm.
family, outside of teaching? Like what do you do? Some hobbies of yours?
Of course, got to stay active, right? If you're in a profession that requires you to sit in one place or be in one space for a long period of time. Got to stay active, man. I love being active. I've been active for a while now. I love going to the gym. I think that's, I wouldn't say that's therapy, but that's therapeutic for me, right? Remove all my anger, all my frustration at the end of the day. And I love climbing as well. I've been climbing a lot recently, just indoor climbing. It's been really fun. Again, it's really therapeutic. You get to basically map your way up and again, it's like life, right? You keep climbing up, you're gonna fall down, but you keep going until it's time up and it's time to go home. But yeah, like I said, I'm quite a social person. I do go out a lot and what do you call my friends a lot. So it's been nice actually since I've been back from home. I have been missing home a lot because I just went back. But yeah, man, life moves on, life goes on. I want to get into painting. Not gonna lie, man, Joe. Think about it. Have you ever done that painting? Like
No,
it's
I've
never too late
always
to pick up a hobby, is it? Right.
definitely isn't. I mean, I've always found painting to be interesting. I've always been interested in art, but I
Yeah,
think
man.
it's never too late to get into something, but like once you get into it, you have to continue with it,
Yeah,
right?
literally.
Because you can just start something and then stop it.
Fair
So I
enough.
think that's what a lot of people tend to do with at least hobbies. You pick something, it's very easy to start something, but to continue with it and build that habit, it's quite difficult, right? And you're not going to get good unless you continue with that habit. And then if you do stop, it's very easy to break the habit, but it's hard to get back into it. I mean, it's kind of like working out or like
Yeah, for sure,
any
man.
sort of hobby, right? So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man.
What do you
Of
think
course.
about your life so far? What moments feel like turning points? How they shaped you, who you are today?
Well, of course, like I said, I've been away for uni within for my undergrad in the same country though. So coming here, living by myself, learning the ways, really made me into a solid person, not gonna lie. I was quite, so when I was living back home, I'd say I was quite an emotional person, wear my heart on my sleeve. But of course, coming and moving away from home kind of hardens you up. because you don't get the things that you used to get before. You were so comfortable back home. Once you get out of comfort, that's where growth lies. That's how I see it. And that's what happened to me. So in that sense, I think that's where my strengths lie as well. It's been, of course, it does take a toll on your mental sometimes. Mental health is something to be considered as well. Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about mental health, but you don't need to. If you're not good mentally, you're not going to be able to do it physically. If you can't do it physically, you can't do nothing, right? So, of course, that takes a toll when living away from home, doing things. But again, man, that's just how life is. It gives you an opportunity. I have an opportunity of being here, and I'm trying to make the best of it. Yeah, let's see where life takes me. Right?
No, it's definitely a good perspective. At least I think when I moved away from home, I was quite
Mm-hmm.
reliant on family to, or even just being at home. You do get some sort of comfortability where you're just like, everything's being done for you, right? You're not cooking, you're not cleaning. And then moving abroad, you kind of have to learn how to do all these things yourself. I think it definitely develops your skills. And then even with,
Yeah, man.
like you were saying, putting yourself out of your comfort zone, right? Like, I don't think I would have ever learned how to cook.
Yeah,
I would have ever learned how to clean, I don't think I would have learned how to do any of
literally,
these
right?
things.
Exactly.
Like, I'd have just been like some lazy
That's what I'm
dude
saying.
who didn't know how to do anything. So I definitely think
Yeah.
everyone should live apart from their family, even for a couple of years. Like, obviously, we both grew up in
Mm-hmm.
India, and in India, that's not common practice a lot of the times. People go to college, but they're still living at home.
Yeah, man.
They're not really
Exactly.
leaving the house. Even after they get married, they're still living at
That's
home,
what I'm
right?
saying.
And I
It's a
think
really like a very, if I want to put it this way, it's a very brown thing to do. It's a very Southeast Asian thing to do. Like live at home even after you're like 18. In the West, of course, like you said, after you moved out, you have to do things on your own: laundry, cooking, cleaning, take the bins out, just
pay
stuff
your
like that, which
bills,
you never thought you'd do, but you're still doing it, right? Yeah, pay your bills, all the bills, man. Like bills. There's Wi-Fi, electric, all sort of bills that it even didn't even know existed, like water. You pay for your water, mate. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, man, there's just a sense of comfort, right, back home. And for, of course, people who might be listening who aren't used to that sort of life, who haven't known that sort of life in terms of you can still live with your parents even after like you're 18, and it's not frowned upon, it's not looked down upon because that's the norm. Like, I wouldn't say, okay, might not be the norm, but it's what people do in India. So when you come to the West, like when you're doing everything yourself, and it really teaches you, look, like about life, about everything. Absolutely right.
no, for sure. But I think there's also benefits to being in that sort of situation where you're living with your family. Obviously, at least from my personal experience, right? I've seen families tend to be a lot closer in places like India or Southeast Asia compared to places like the US. Maybe people aren't as close to their parents. They're not maybe taking care of their parents like
Hmm.
maybe we would when we grow older, right? There's definitely positives and negatives, right? Everything in life, there's some sort of positive, there's some sort of negative. I think it's just having a good balance between the two. So I definitely think it's a great experience to just go outside of your comfort zone, just living by yourself. Forget living with a roommate, just
Hmm.
like getting out of that bubble of living with a roommate who you're kind of splitting chores with, or even just like splitting the rent with. You're really becoming more individualistic, right? Just by living by yourself. You have your own space, you're
Yeah,
designing the
man.
space yourself. It's very, very interesting growth you see as a person. But emphasizing on that,
Hmm.
so is there a moment in your life where you realize, like, oh, wow, I've grown a lot as a person, or I've grown so much in my career? Is there something that comes to mind?
When I passed my teacher training one, I think that really hit me because, of course, when I came to do my master's, it was to do uni, and I want to say I wasn't really focused as to what I wanted to do. After that, right, a lot of things came into mind. I wanted to do like something to do with research or something to do and with working in like an NGO or working the government, the environmental side of it, law maybe, but nothing concrete, nothing really solid that I'd put my head down and be like, okay, this is what I really want to do. You know. But like I said, when this whole teaching job came up, I wasn't looking for it. It just literally came to me, right? And the best things in life come to people who don't chase, right? And that's how I look at it as well. Another theory. If you chase things, You're kind of pushing yourself away from it and let it come to you. So I think, man, when I really complete my teacher training, that's when it hit me, right? That I am capable of doing something good. I'm capable of changing a life or lives here. And I did it so well. Of course, I passed with flying colors, but it was a good experience as well. It was a growing experience for me, an experience where I really mature as a person, that I have the power now to really do good to society in that sense. So I think that was a turning point to answer the question, or that just made me into, just gave me tunnel vision, mate. Just tunnel vision. Like I'm I'm solid
Made you
now,
kind
you
of
know? If you ask me
realize
what I
like
want to do, where I see myself, yeah,
no, made you kind of realize like okay, like I'm actually like doing well in life. I'm a serious person. That's kind of the realization you had, sort of.
yeah,
Or like you had some sort of
yeah,
path, I guess, if you
yeah,
weren't.
man, yeah. Oh, of course, I'm going to bring this up as well. Like, we live in an age right now, right, where everyone around us seems to be living the best life, right? Because social media has put it that way. When you really realize what you're doing in life, like, you wake up, you have a job, you have a house to live, you can cook, you can walk, right? Just these simple things you stop appreciating because you're so engrossed in living the best life because some person is doing it online and you're chasing that. So you really get lost in that process. And when you really think about it, you're doing quite well, man. You have a job, you're earning, you're making your own money, you're making your own dinner, right? You have a house to live in, right? You have the freedom to go out wherever you want. You have the freedom to catch a flight now, go wherever you want in the world. Um, I think we like our generation takes a lot of things for granted that way, man. You know, just appreciate the small things. That's all. And appreciate the
No,
small
for
things.
sure. I definitely agree. I think I've kind of been someone who's not appreciated just my life and the opportunities that I've had, even just like you said, being able to put a roof over my head, being able to pay my own bills, do things myself, right? We take a lot of things for granted. And I think, like you said, just with social media
Yeah,
showing
man.
these extravagant lives of everyone, right? Like you just kind of get lost in the sauce and you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm not doing well. I'm not doing as good as this person,
Yep.
even though it's maybe a 1 in 100 person who's doing that, right? So I definitely agree.
The fucking algorithm is built to fuck with your mind. That's what it is. That's what keeps you on the app. Because what's the point, mate? It's like dating apps, right? Dating apps are built to keep you on the app. Like, how are they gonna earn money if you get your first match to be the love of your life? Can't be. No way, right? They're designed to keep you on that. So, yeah, so it is. Just capitalism,
No,
just money
definitely
making.
agree. I think so. Kind of talking more towards life, I guess. What do you think, or how do you kind of define happiness? Do you define it as something we kind of chase or something we create? How do you kind of see it? Are you happy right now?
If you asked me this question when I was young, mate, I'd just be like, happiness is it's a Beyblade, you know? Like materialistic. That's what it was. But of course, after you grew up, you realize that if material goods or material things give you happiness, then you're not happy with the end of it. But you're just momentarily happy. But that's just a moment, and moments pass by very quickly. Like you said, I take exactly what you said, mate. You create it for yourself. So it's just a clear example. Like, say, for example, you wake up one morning, you're going to work, and you get a nice coffee from Starbucks, and you walk out the door and it falls down, right? And we're like, shit, I'm gonna have such a bad day. I'm having such a bad day, right? However, it's not a bad day. It's just that moment which made it bad, right? It's how you look at it. It's perspective versus perception. That's all it is, right? If you get out of how you perceive things and look at things from different perspectives, that's how you'll grow. If you're going to look at your perception of things, and if that's the way you want it to be, then you're never going to grow. And like my brothers teach me, like stoicism, right? I'm talking about. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do about it after. Like your actions control what happens after what happens to you, literally, right? So that's how I live. You create it. You create happiness, and I would say I wouldn't say again, happiness is like a spectrum, right? Can you ever be like completely 100% happy? I don't think so. I don't think so, right? So, I think I'm content right now. Let's put it that way, right? Content. Content's a good word to use.
I think, yeah, I think with life, it's a lot of ups and downs, right? There are moments where just like in the moment happy, and then the next day it could be like horrible and you're sad. But again, I think it's just more finding like that inner peace. At least that's how I look at it, right? Like being content with your life, being happy, maintaining relationships with people. Because at the end of the day, like you said, materialistic things don't really give you happiness. They may give you like happiness for a couple
Yeah, man.
hours, couple days, but it's not long-term happiness, right? I think at the end of
Hmm.
the day, happiness is maybe, at least this is how I would define it. It's more of just being okay with where you are at in life and just being content with
Hmm.
how your life is going, and just hoping that everyone around you can feel that way or be that way as well, right? So it's a very
Yeah,
it's
man.
a very interesting topic, to be honest. I think different people have different definitions for it, but I think both of us kind of see the same things or define it in the same way. So, what role does ambition and contentment play in your life? Do they ever conflict? What's your kind of end goal? Have you ever gotten to a point where you're like, "Oh, I need to be doing this," doesn't happen. You're disappointed about it, like
Yeah, man. Of course, I think each day has a goals, right? And have ambitions, of course. Who's not? Who doesn't have ambition, mate? Everyone has ambition. Everyone wants to be something. Everyone wants to get somewhere. Everyone wants to do something or make something of themselves. But it you need a balance, right? Ambition, contentment. At the end of the day, ambition should give you contentment, right? If you're content, then you will have ambition. Because if you're not content, then you don't have any ambition. So you need a balance, a very fine balance between them. Like this goes to the previous conversation we're having about happiness. I think all of them go hand in hand as well, right? If you're content, then you're happy. If you're happy, then you are a very ambitious person. Because if you're ambitious, you are, um, how do you say, you're chasing success. Plays uh, a very intricate role. Like I said, it's very intricate, all interconnected as well. But I had no ambition at all. I did this this uni course, of course, just as a way to get out of home, of course. But it took me to places where I wouldn't imagine myself right now. So I think kind of having no fear as well, right? To try something new, to try something you've never done before. I think it could take people to new heights and new places that they haven't experienced. Because I feel we're really scared to try something new and dip our feet in uncharted waters in that matter. So I think it's really important that we do something out of our comfort zone because you can't grow in comfort. So that's what it is.
no, for sure. I think life is definitely about putting yourself in difficult circumstances. And I think if you
Yeah,
remain
man.
in circumstances where you're just kind of comfortable your whole life, you end up just not being happy because you're not growing as a person, right? At least for me, I view life as a way of just growing and learning, and I guess becoming more successful in a sense where you can kind of shape your own destiny just by the things you've kind of learned and done throughout your life, right? So I don't know if that really made sense, but
Yeah, what's the point, right, man? Like I said, it's all interconnected. If you're not content with what you're doing, uh, then you're never going to be happy. If you're content in a job that you're stuck, then you're always going to be stuck unless you do something about it, right? So, goes hand in hand.
so just staying on similar topic. So what's like a challenge you've kind of faced in your life? How do you handle failures? How do you handle these challenges, maybe both professionally and personally?
It's a good question, man. What we thinking, you know? However, I'd like to say I'm a really reflective person, you know? So if there is something that isn't going my way, say, for example, in my professional life in school, but if there's something that school's all about planning, right? You get into a lesson, and you plan a nice lesson out, and it never goes according to plan. Right? Let me tell you that. Right? You're expecting the best to have the best lessons because the planning's done in such a nice way. The questions are done so nicely. It's like, I'm going to put in these group tasks for the kids. I'm going to put in like videos for them, but it never goes how you planned it. Right. So, I deal with failure on a daily basis. Right. However, it's how you deal with it. It's how you, I'm going back to, the baseline and the fundamental of stoicism. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do about it after. I'm a really reflective person and I take feedback and criticism really well. If there is something that needs to be tweaked or if there's something that needs to be changed or is not working, I think about it and I change it, right? And I tend not to repeat my mistakes again. But of course, I'm human. We all make mistakes again and again. But really reflective in that sense. So that's kind of taken away the fear of failure, or taken away this the dissatisfaction that comes with failure. And of course, prior to this, when I was a bit younger and I did take failure that easily, I would let my anger control it all. I'd be really disappointed and I'd become really lazy after. I tend not to do the things and not continue to do what I was doing just because I failed with that. I didn't do well. However, of course, you grow as a person, you change as a person. And when you become really reflective, and that's when you really start to see a change in yourself. When you start to tweak the little things, you nip it at the bud. You don't let it fester for too long that you get consumed by it, but you react and you stay proactive. So that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Don't let
No,
anything disappoint you. That's
for
all.
sure. I think a lot of it's just mindset as well, right? Like personally, I have
Mm-hmm.
been
Literally.
looking for a new job for months at this point and just
Absolutely.
rejection after rejection after rejection. And it definitely takes a toll on your
Yeah.
mental health, right? Like
I know
you
that
kind
feeling.
of,
Right? Yeah. It
you're just
does, of
kind of like,
course.
oh, I
But
suck.
you get up
Like
and you
I'm a
go again.
failure.
Get up and you go again.
Yeah, it's also being optimistic, right? It's about looking at how far you've come. Like, for example, just me, maybe a couple months ago, I was just getting straight email rejection, no calls, no first interview, nothing. I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm getting callbacks now, I'm going to final rounds, and it's just a matter of time, right? It's just about doing the right
Okay.
things over and over again until
Yeah,
something
man.
maybe clicks and that opportunity comes your way, and then you can just kind of grab it with everything you've got. And I think that's something you tend to learn just
Yeah,
as
it's just motivation, Manoj. It's just motivation at the end of it. And you don't have
Mhm.
to do 100% on that day. It's just 1% every day. Just move. That's all. Do something about it.
No, for sure. I think even just with me, like mentally, I've definitely grown as a person in this stage in my life. Like I definitely would have been someone who's
Mm-hmm.
probably letting things affect me, right? And I think, like you were saying, it's just about growing from these instances, changing your mindset, thinking positively instead of thinking negatively. And it'll definitely play a part in your life and how you view life, right? Being grateful for maybe being able to eat some good meals and just I think just doing things for yourself as well. It's always good to kind of just take some time to yourself even if
Yeah,
you
man.
don't feel like doing something, right? Just one day you're feeling lazy. Don't let that laziness lead to a week, but a 1 day, 2 days of laziness just for yourself, taking some time for yourself, recuperating, getting your mental
Yeah.
back on track. That's definitely helpful. So I think something I wanted to talk about with regards to this is just working out in general. I know you are a avid lifter. You do like working out quite a bit. So how has the gym kind of helped you just in life? And what do you think about working out as a hobby? Like, how do you think it affected your mental?
Man, it's been a big part of me. It is a big part of me. And you talk to some people in my life, they'd say I base my personality around it. Like Aman,
Yeah, you
right?
definitely do.
Aman, our friend Aman, like he'd definitely say that, and you definitely say that as well. But yeah, man, it got me out of a really dark place, the gym. Right? I wouldn't say the gym, but just the working out and staying active really got me out of a really dark place in my head and in my life where I was. I used to be borderline anorexic, right? Really skinny. And I would get bullied all the time. Bullied by my family, bullied by my friends, but just to the way that I looked. I'd really played with my mental. It gave me so much of a body dysmorphia. I started hating the way that I looked. I wouldn't wear half sleeves. I wouldn't wear a t-shirt. I wouldn't wear uh, a shirt that would not cover up my sleeve. I'd just be in oversized hoodies. I would just wear baggy clothes all the time, right? Because I was ashamed of the way that I am. That the gym really has been a big part of the way that it structured my mind after it, the way the confidence that it's given me right now. I'm a social person, I'd say, because of the gym, because of the confidence that it's given me. Right, to go up and talk to anyone, to have that confidence to do that. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not saying like you need to go to the gym to talk to people. I'm just saying it kind of builds that, it gives you that push. If you're confident of the way you look and the way you seem to people, you're going to have a good time because you look good, you feel good. Right? And if you feel good, it's nothing better than that. So I think the gym really has been a big, big part, and more than physical, really, it's been really mental satisfaction and mental and it's taking care of my mental well-being. But I just want to say, gym is not therapy, right? Gym is therapeutic. That's what it is. You still need therapy, guys. If you're listening, you still need therapy, right? But gym is therapeutic. It helps. It helps. It helped me a lot, and I'd say I'm much more confident, much more disciplined person as well. Because if you're just active, right? See, you're going to run every day. That's discipline, right? If you're just active and you stay consistent, you own it, and you're just going to see results. But it's discipline as well. It's taught me how to be regimented. It's taught me that being consistent at something really gets you somewhere, right? Because with this whole like being in the gym and bodybuilding and just the whole fitness thing, if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to see results, right? Because it's not like you take that you're suddenly fine if you have a temperature or a fever, right? This is like to build a body, to build an aesthetic body, takes a long time, it takes a lot of dedication. You need to be consistent with your diet, you need to be consistent with your training, right? And me having like a full-time job and still being able to like hit the gym every day is a privilege, right? But that's also the mindset. It just doesn't come. You need to cultivate it. You need to build it. And I think props to my mom though. She really pushed me into it, going to the gym, right? Because I get bullied left, right, center. I get bullied by my family members as well. Like they'd be like, you won't get a nice girl if you look like this and things like that. I'd just be like, mate, how does that even matter, right? How does the way that I look like matter? It's the way that I seem. It's my inside that she is gonna, you know. But man, just these small things, that really plays with your mind. And yeah, yeah, I think it made me into a better person, I'd say.
No, for sure. I think kind of emphasizing on what you said with regards to you look good, you feel good, right? I think even the same thing goes for when you get
Mhm.
like a fresh haircut, you trim your beard up or you shave, like you look good, you feel good, right? It just gives you that boost of confidence. And I think a lot of people, if you're maybe
Yeah,
struggling
man.
with like just mental health, not being confident, just go out there. Even if you're not going to the gym every day, which I do suggest doing, that dopamine rush after that gym hits different, like it's just you feel
Mhm.
so good about yourself. Even if you've not done anything in the day
Yeah,
and
maybe,
you just went
sorry,
to the
sorry. Maybe
gym.
some people don't like going to the gym. Just go for a walk. Just
Yeah,
breathe
yeah,
some
just
fresh
get
air, touch
outside. Yeah, for
grass,
sure.
Like that's gonna help as well. Just nature is lovely outside. Like talk to some birds and bees outside, right? Say hi to some butterflies. Just talk. Like you don't need to go to the gym. Like just do it for your mental at the end of it.
Just enjoy your surroundings, right? Because I think every day we just go
Mhm.
outside and we don't
Yep.
notice the beautiful parts of life or just nature itself, right? Like people are just so oblivious to. Like for example, you're driving down the same route you go to work at. You won't notice maybe a nice building or like a nice tree. Just being able to like notice those things and kind of, I think walking also helps with that, but just being able to notice those things or take notice of it, you
It's quite
definitely
important,
appreciate
man,
life a lot more.
to connect with your surroundings and be one of the earth. Because of course, man, the earth doesn't need us. We need the earth, right? So yeah, just appreciate it while it's still there, you know?
No, for sure. So going back to maybe I know you talked about your mom, but who's been the biggest influence in shaping your outlook on life?
I wouldn't say my mom again, man. I'm really thankful to my mom though for giving me the opportunity of coming to the UK and coming to a different country per se to do something with my life, to do something different from what the family does or what they wanted me to do. Props, props to my sister as well. She pushed me as well. She's been a pillar of strength, man. My youngest sister, she's 22 and she lives in Bangalore in India. Props to her. She's been really supportive as well. And of course, man, I have a good group of friends who are, like I said, you meet a lot of people in your life, right? But you also meet two kinds of friends. You meet friends who are really happy when you do well in life, who are more happy than you that you did well in life. But you also meet friends who, if you're doing well in life, they always have something to say about it, or they're not happy about it, you know? So I'd like to say I have a lot of friends who are really happy and who are really, give me that sense of belonging and give me that sense of competition as well. It's good to have people around who keep you on your toes. So I think good to have a nice family system, good to have a good friend system to keep you going. And I think that's where you get your motivation from, man. It's family and friends. Keep you going.
So would you say would you say there's not just one person who maybe shaped your outlook on life, but just a bunch of different people, your friends, family, who kind of helped you
It's a
along the
bunch of
way and
different
kind of
people.
made
I'd
you who
also
you
say
are?
some of my exes as well, man, Some of my exes as well have given me a different perspective in life, which just push me through or help me become a better version of myself, right? Of course, every person who comes into your life teaches you something, right? And yeah, thanks to all of them. Thanks to all the people as well. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's not just one single person. It's everyone who comes into your life is coming for a reason and teaches you one lesson or the other. Those who stick by, I'm going to teach you lessons forever. Those who don't teach you a lesson, go away so you don't repeat them again. That's how it is. That's how I see it.
So, what's something you've learned about people just with your job, maybe just through teaching?
Um, Wait, no, you let me just put it this way, I plain and simple. In regard to my job, of course, yeah, I learned a lot of things, but just by being surrounded by people all the time, I just want to say that unless you talk to someone, you don't really know what's going on in their life because everyone's going through something, man. Everyone's going through something. And sometimes I think we forget about that because I think, of course, we're humans. We want us to be fine. We put ourselves before anything and everything. But we forget sometimes that other people have lives too. They're going through hardships too. So I think just being kind and realizing that you're not the only one on this planet who has issues unless you talk to someone and get to know what they're up to or know what they're going through. You're not gonna, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna be able to help out or do something about it. It's not your job to do something about it. I'm just saying it's nice to not be selfish and try to be the only person in the room.
Try to empathize with people pretty much, kind of
Hmm.
understands like they may be going through something, their attitude towards you or maybe towards others, or just
Yeah,
the way they act may not be down to the fact of kind of who you are, but just kind of what they're going through.
yeah, man.
No, for sure. So yeah, I think maybe if we can just talk more about just life itself, right? So, do you think life has a purpose? We're meant to find it? Do we create our own meaning? How do you kind of look at life?
Well, man, look, you asked me this when I was quite young. I'd say, as a purpose, yeah, we're meant to be doing this. This is what we're destined to do. But as you grow, you really think that life is really shit, isn't it? Everywhere, every time you wake up in the morning, you're like, life is shit, man. What do I do? Like, life is shit, right? How do I make it better? So life is always going to be shit, but it's what you do and how you perceive it to be is how it's going to be for you. So that's what it is. Just about mindset and outlook. If you think you're going to have a shitty day at the start of the morning, then you are going to have a shitty day indeed. If you think it's going to be the best day of your life, right? Because every day is the start of the week. That's how you look at it. Some people, every day is the weekend. If you look at every day as the start of the week, then you're working and you're building a healthy mindset. But yeah, mate, it's how you make it, and it's literally going with the flow. That's the most simple way I can put it. Just going with the flow. Because, of course, everyone has an end date, right? What are we going to take when we leave? Nothing. Just ourselves, just our thoughts, just our experiences and memories, right? So that's how we
I
carry.
think also you take the experiences, or not the experience, but the impact you may have had on someone else's life, right? So
Mhm.
that's also something to consider.
Yeah.
I mean, even with you being in a teaching profession, you probably impact a lot of kids on a day-to-day basis, but you can
Yeah.
impact anyone.
If you're so mean all the time and you're just like, oh, life is shit, this is that, this is this, moaning all the time and shit like that, you're never gonna be content and happy. Just
No,
embrace it.
definitely.
Look at the different side. The grass is green where you water it. That's what it is. The grass is green where you water it, right?
No, for sure. Yeah, I think it's definitely about changing your perspective, right? Like, sure, bad things are gonna happen to you, but bad things happen to everyone, right? It's about how you deal with them and how you
Yeah,
overcome them and how you kind of look at them as maybe learning experiences in the future compared to looking at them as like, oh, that ruined my life. My life is so shit, right? If it's like, okay, like it is what it is, that's kind of what happened, but I learned from it and I grew from it, and that's definitely how I try to look at things. Obviously, it's not possible all the time. It's very easy to say things, right? But then it's very hard to practice them. So I think it's just about kind of making that practice an everyday practice. So, kind of similar question. So, how would you maybe deal with uncertainty about your future? Obviously, you said you're not sure whether you want to live in the UK. Are you someone who kind of just thinks about your future, about maybe financial status, what you want to do later in life?
um, at the moment though, I'm just taking it as day as it comes, right? Of course, got to think about finances if I want to take a holiday or things like that. But I do have like a three, let me just say 2 or 3 year plan. So I know what I'm going to do in the next 2 or 3 years. So that kind of is keeping me going. But yeah, I don't see myself living here full time, right? For the rest of my life, at least. Taking each day as it goes and see myself in Australia, not gonna lie. Better weather, right? So that's what I'm going to chase now, better weather.
Yeah, I think living in the UK is quite depressing, to be honest. I don't know if I could ever live there. Just rain, gray skies all the time. The weather definitely plays an impact on your mental health too.
You'd enjoy it like 3 months in a year. You'd enjoy the UK. The UK is the best place to be in the summer, mate. Right? Like 3 months in a year, the best place to be. However, apart from that, it's just grim and grey and like people are just angry because like it's just a very dull spectrum of colors as well. There's no sun. There's no like light anywhere. You can't
But
see
I
anything
think
except for grey buildings and grey skies and
I think that makes you
grey
appreciate
everything.
the summertime more though, right? Like at least when I've spoken to people who
Yeah,
maybe
literally.
live in a
That's what I
place
said.
where there's bad weather.
Three months in a year, gosh, 3 months in a year is the best place ever. However, apart from that, it's just like dull and grey, man. But you get used to it, and you get used to the sun setting so late.
No, for sure. I think it's definitely something to get used to, especially after living in a place where the weather's pretty sunny most of the year. So I definitely agree with you. So more on just life, or maybe just where you see your life going, right? Like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Personally, professionally? Do you have an idea of it, or
Um, I'm going to teach for a bit, that's for sure. I intend on teaching for like 2, 3 years and then probably doing like a PhD and then teaching in uni. And then again, getting into academia is a completely different ballgame, mate. And the competition is cutthroat as well. So I've been doing a lot of thinking. And yeah, I'm going to keep this teaching thing going for a bit. And then, I don't know, mate, probably like open up like a matcha coffee bar in Bangalore. Who knows? Save up some money, do something completely different. But that's the thing. That's the thing. I have the privilege, I'd like to say, that I can get up and do whatever I want, right? And many people don't have that. I think that's because that shout out to my folks and shout out to my family for giving me that privilege of like basically this isn't it. I could literally get up and do something else if I wanted to. And I have the chance to do that. So not really keeping myself stuck here in terms of doing one job for the rest of my life. But yeah, keeping my options open. But for the moment though, you said 5 years, right? I still see myself teaching. Yeah, there is good progression within the job as well, within the sector. So I think keep your options open though. Maybe a
So,
better school, maybe a private school, who knows?
so from what you're saying, it seems like kind of just going where life takes you. But as you go
Yeah,
along,
man.
just continuing with the teaching and then seeing where it goes from there. Once you maybe
Yeah.
lose interest in it, reinventing yourself in somewhere, some other fields or entrepreneurship or something like that.
Yeah, literally. Um, because like I said, I have the opportunity and the choice and the freedom to do it. Why not?
No, for sure, definitely. I think that's a big thing as well. Just people don't believe that they can kind of do whatever they want, right? You can reinvent yourself at
Yeah, man.
40. Life is not 20 years, 30
Yeah,
years, right? It's 7 maybe
yeah.
on average
So it's
65, 70
never too
years,
late.
right? It's never too late to do anything, right?
It's
So,
never too late. Never too late.
so looking back on your journey, what's something that you're really proud of?
Like I said, man, I think I've answered this, and maybe in a different way, but just getting into this whole teaching thing, I think it's not easy. As an international student as well as an international applicant, it's not easy. So yeah, I commend myself for that. Survive it, man. Just survive it through it all. Being in the right headspace most of the times, because it's not really living abroad, living by yourself and things like that. You get used to it. You need to get used to it. But yeah, just survive it. That's what I'm proud of. Lots to go, lots to learn. Of course, still quite young, but made a good start, I guess, you know.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I've known you what, 10 years at this point, and I've definitely seen you grow as a person quite a bit. I think we both have changed
I think you've known me longer, man. I think you've known me like 13, 14 years now, dude.
Yeah, yeah, actually it is. It is over 10 years. I think we were probably like 14, 13
Yeah,
years
man.
old. 14, 15
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while. But let's
Yeah, man, time
see.
keeps going. Man. The clock doesn't stop.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're old as fuck now. But if someone was thinking about becoming a teacher, what is maybe some advice that you would give them?
hmm Don't do it, man.
But it seems like it's quite a fulfilling career, right?
Do it if your heart's in it. Don't do it for the sake of it. Because if you're getting into it, that means you're not just teaching, right? You're also a parent. Because you're also parenting. You need to realize that these kids spend more time at school than they do at home, cumulatively, on an average. As with teaching, my job is also to be your dad or be your mom and parent you. I'm teaching you all sorts of behavior that you should be learning at home, but you're not doing that because your parents aren't teaching you to do that. But I'm doing that as well. So, like I said, if your mind is set on it, then get into the profession. If not, if you're just doing it to satisfy something else, don't do it. It's not a mental thing. Mentally it's gonna ruin you, right? You need to have the ability and capacity to deal with a load of things, and things don't go your way at all. If you think you're going, like I said, think I said this before, if you think the lessons that you plan or the topic that you plan is going to go exactly the way that you plan all the time, it's never going to go the way you plan. So if you're a person who is really stuck up on their ways or needs things to be a certain way, don't get into it because it's not going to go that way. So, it's not for everyone. Like I said, I've seen many teachers come in and go, right? Many stop teaching 1, 2 years in because they can't hack it, can't deal with the kids or can't deal with it.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I think that's all I really had questions wise. So I appreciate you coming down, talking to us. I think we kind of talked really about just life in general. It's a very interesting conversation. Gonna watch this
Love,
back and
man.
see what we
This is
talked
something
about.
different.
But
Like I said, never done anything like this. So it
yeah,
was quite
no, it's
quite
good to have you. I
quite a
appreciate you
nice thing,
coming
quite
on.
a different thing, No,
Anything you
cheers,
want to
man.
say?
Appreciate you
Final
for having
last
me on.
words.
Like I said, man, I'm gonna keep repeating this again and again. It's just about mindset and consistency, right? You don't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do about it. So just keep at it. If you work hard enough, you stay consistent enough, you're gonna get it. That's just how it is. It's just how life is. So stay humble. That's all I like to say. Stay humble, right? And shout out Arsenal. Shout out Arsenal. They're gonna win the Premier League, right? 2025, 2026. You heard it
Yeah,
here
we're
first.
stopping the
Shout
interview
out
here.
Arsenal.
Okay.
Shout out Victor Gyökeres. Shout out. See you guys. Like and subscribe.